Okay, so the reason why the end of humanity is almost here is because these Satanists expect us to be eating bugs by 2050. So, whatever they have brewing up, they expect us to be eating bugs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day by 2050. What So by 2050, if they expect us to be eating bugs, then that means they could also expect everyone to have a RFID chip in their heads or some shit. And so all these people are going through life as if they're not going to be alive when this shit happens, which is cowardice at the end of the day. But they expect all this shit to happen when they're dead. But the truth is, most of this shit is actually closer than you really think. As more truth starts to come online, the harder they're going to go with their lies. So the more lies are going to be circulating through the internet and stuff as more people start to realize the truth about what they are doing. And the thing is, we actually have to stop the New World Order. We have to stop the Illuminati. We have to stop these Satanists, because if we don't stop them, then nobody else will. And people will say, well, how are we going to do that when they're the most powerful people in the world? They are not the most powerful people in the world, because every single revolution, the populace always wins, because the truth is, the world is only being ran by a few tens of thousands of people. A few 10,000 people, we can easily raise awareness around the whole world and eventually, overthrow them. This will be something that happens years from now, but we can't just sit here and let these people destroy humanity, because if we don't stand up for shit, then of course humanity is going to end. And that's not how God intended shit to be. That's not how life is supposed to go. And people will also have questions like, well, what are we going to do after we overthrow them? Well, we will basically reshape how the world is. We will change governments. We would change systems. We would change a whole lot of things. But first, before we even think about all that shit, we need to start speaking up against these corrupted forces. We need to start spreading awareness so that way millions of people understand what's going on, and that there are a group of people named the Illuminati that are controlling the world, and they really want us all dead. Now, some of the things that the Illuminati have been doing that most people don't know but has resurfaced. And if you want to know more about this topic, look up Donald Marshall, because Donald Marshall is he actually was a victim of cloning. Because the Illuminati, what they do is they tell you what they're doing through science fiction, entertainment, media. Anything you see exists physically in some form, even books. So when they show you these movies of cloning and Hunger Games and all this shit, just know that it's an exaggerated form or some fantasy of something that's already happening. So yes, the Illuminati are cloning humans. They have REM driven clones. They've been doing this for decades, since 1945. And most of us are just now becoming aware of it, or this information is just now, or well, for the last decade it's been surfacing on the internet, but it's very hard to come by, obviously, because they don't want you to know it. It's dug deep. But a lot of these things are going to have to start coming to the surface, so that way we can raise awareness to get these corrupted leaders out. Yes, they can clone full versions of you, but it won't have your soul or spirit in it. It's just another version of you that they can grow from agitating your blood cells. And they can just clone you as many times as they want. And they do it in deep underground military bases. REM sleep cloning is one of the main things that they do. And if you want to know more information, like I said, look up Donald Marshall on the internet. But they can create versions of you. They can transfer consciousnesses. They can do all types of shit. They lie to you about food. They poison you in your food. They lie to you about everything. They're trying to cause division throughout the entire world. And we all see this happen now. Everything that's going on now has always been happening for a long time. You're just now becoming aware of it. They've been doing this shit for a long time. And the only way it's going to stop is if hundreds of millions or even billions of us stand against them. They have no choice. They stand no chance. And the righteous people of earth will actually inherit the earth again. And we will be able to flip this world around and make it into a better place. Now, when righteous people do get back into leadership, that does not mean like no, the world does not owe you anything. People do not owe you anything. What we will do, or what I assume is going to happen, is we're going to live in a world where it's no longer going to be survival. People are not going to be living to survive. They're going to be living to create. And you still have to learn how to create your own reality, because we are creators. We're not here to just work to survive. We're supposed to be creating our lives. So you still have to get out here and actually do something. And for all those people that plan on sitting on the sidelines and not saying anything while this stuff has happened, always understand the divine is always watching. God is always watching. So if you sit on the sidelines, don't expect anything good to happen to you in the future. If you believe in God, then that means you believe in righteousness. That means you believe that there has to be a way that we win. And we will win. There's also something else that I need to say. They also have so everyone talks about lizards and shape-shifting lizards, and the world leaders are lizards and shit like that. But that shit sounds stupid. Shape-shifting lizards sounds dumb as fuck, because it is dumb. But there's a reason for that. It's because, like I said, if you look up Donald Marshall, he would explain all these things, but there are evolved parasitic lizards deep underground under the ocean. And the Illuminati work with these little creatures. And it sounds crazy, I know, but it's the truth. You want to know why the world's so fucked up? You want to know why children are being trafficked every year, while there are child molesters everywhere? You want to know why wars are going on and children are getting blown up? It's because this shit's going on behind the scenes. So, but there's these parasitic lizards that they have this parasite. They have a proboscis that comes out of their head, and it has a parasite attached to it. And that parasite goes through your eye and to the back to your brain, and it kills the previous person's consciousness. And then that parasite, that lizard's consciousness, which is in the parasite, takes over that human. And so that human is now walking around with part of its brain dead, but they know how to mimic a human. So it's very, very hard to tell. The only way to tell is that they just won't be a good person at all, but that's still not enough to know. They say you have to get a CAT scan and actually scan the brain and see if they have a dead part. If the front of their brain is like off and not working and they shouldn't be alive, then you know it's a parasite. But yes, they actually do it. And it's basic biology and science. So this is not anything science fiction. If you look up a parasite, parasites take over hosts all the time. They can take over a human host. But they call these parasitic lizards that take over the brain, they call them drones. So it's not shape-shifting. It's an actual lizard that goes into the eye. Why do you think the Illuminati, they do their little, they cover their eye up, or they do a little fucking 666 shit on their eye? And then they do the quiet symbol and shit to let you know, because for them, it's the thing going in their eye. It's the parasitic lizard going in their eye. So they're a lizard consciousness. And then when they do this, it's to not speak about it. And that's what I learned. And that's what I learned from Donald Marshall. And it makes sense, though. It's common sense. If you put two and two together, it makes sense. So this is the type shit that's going on that's keeping the world all fucked up. And a lot of people aren't gonna believe it, but they ain't gonna have no choice when the government comes out and shows you themselves, because eventually the things I'm saying is gonna come out years from now, because I know it's the truth. I know what I'm saying is right. So it is what it is.